time that I was in the hearing room, the hearing had not convened. It had not yet begun. I went to the seat where the bag was that had the fake blood and just placed my fingers in it. And our intent was just to sit in our seats quietly, holding the masks, as you can see, a mask like that, with bloody fingers in protest of the policies of this administration. When Condi entered, there were no Congress people seated at their desks. And she walked in, there was no one on her right, there was no one sitting right in front of me, so I just pushed the chair up, just walked through and took 2 steps to her to let her know how I felt about her. A Secret Service agent swarmed in on me and escorted. I actually walked myself out. He kind of like turned me over to the Capitol Police officer, and then I was calling her war criminal and take her to The Hague as I was exiting the building.
I think you need to distinguish between 2 things. There is in the United States widespread frustration with and unhappiness with the progress of the war in Iraq. But that does not mean that we have an anti-war movement the way we did in the 1960s. Look, this is a big country, and you can find 100,000 people who believe just about anything in the United States. But if you deduct 100,000 from 300 million, that still leaves more or less 300 million. So protesters and the people who radically criticize what the United States is doing in Iraq represent a very small portion of public opinion. And the fact that they can fill a camera screen doesn't mean that they can fill a voting booth, and the candidates all know that.
There is a great concern across the United States that our president and vice president have violated their constitutional oath of office, that America has been sent into a war based on lies, and that America is preparing for another war based on lies.
The Bush administration has been a disaster. It's been a disaster for life and truth, humanity, law, for all the people in the world.
Good morning. As President, I took an oath to defend the Constitution, and I have no greater responsibility than to protect our people, our freedom, and our way of life.
This administration took America on a war path that has separated us from the world community. And in the United States, they have created such fear, irrational fear, that people will give up their rights, that people are afraid to speak out.
9/11 has legitimated in the public mind a great deal of what Bush has done. And even though now it is, in fact, understood by most Americans that the war was justified by deceit and demagogy.
And I think that fear has had a dampening effect on a mass movement. But I will tell you, that will change. That will change.
Has to be the first day, again, of renewing our energies to pressure our Congress to bring our troops home and to impeach George Bush and Dick Cheney. The people who have died can't come back. No matter how hard I work, no matter what I do, I'm not going to bring my son back. I can't bring back the over 1 million Iraqis that have been killed just in this invasion. We have to fight for our brothers and sisters in Iraq. We have to fight for their children, and we have to fight for our children too.
No justice, no peace! No justice, no peace! U.S. out of the Middle East! No justice!
In reality, the streets of the United States are not filled with protesters. And in reality, the soldiers of the U.S. Army, reluctant as many of them are because of the strain on their family, are returning and doing their duty in Iraq. Some of them may have questions as to whether the war is going to be a success. A lot of people have questions whether the war is going to be a success. But the idea that we have soldiers who are refusing to go, that's not what is happening. There may be an individual case or two, but that is not what is happening.
My name is Kelly Doherty. I served in southern Iraq near the city of Nasiriyah at Talil Air Base from March 03 to February 04. We basically sacrifice a lot of our own humanity when we rob the humanity of other people, and I saw that the impact that that had on my fellow men and women, and really thought that if I can do anything as a U.S. service person, as a veteran, that I should be doing that. And I didn't really know what it would look like. When I got home, I spoke a little bit about my experience, but not a lot until I met other veterans who are also speaking out. Now, more than ever, people in the military are very frustrated with the ongoing occupation of Iraq. And I think when it comes to issues of the legality of the war, the constitutionality of the war, I would say that the average American doesn't understand those simple things, that the war is in contradiction to our own laws, is unconstitutional, is basically a war of aggression.
I think that the things I can't let go, the things I can't get off my chest are the times where I knew it was me that took the life. That's something that I can't, that's something I just can't let go. You know, I can say I didn't know and I didn't agree and I didn't understand as much as I want to, but the fact is that hundreds of thousands of Iraqis are dead and I'm personally responsible for some of those.
There's been 1 million Iraqis killed, and I could apologize 1 million times, it wouldn't bring back a single one of them. One of the reasons why I left the military was because I didn't want to take part in that anymore. I didn't want to be that anymore. I took charge of my life and I left. That doesn't undo all the things that I did while I was in Iraq. It doesn't undo all of the people who were killed when I was in Iraq.
You join the military wanting to serve your nation, wanting to defend all these ideals that we hold as Americans, and then you're sent over to another country to subjugate a population of poor people, and many people in the military come from poor families as well. And for no justifiable reason, reasons continue to change over and over. You've been back maybe twice, 3 times, and you see things are getting worse. I think official numbers are 1/3 of all returning service members from Iraq are suffering some sort of post-traumatic stress disorder or other kind of psychological problems, and that's only the people who actually seek help, which many people never will seek help for it.
Since been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, the war doesn't go away. I thought when I was over there that when I got back home, it would all just melt away, but that's not how it works. It stays with you. You dream at night and you wake up, you can't sleep, and it's always in your head, you know?
From Iraq to civilian life in 24 hours. And then you bring them back to this, to not being taken care of, to a public who's apathetic about what happens to veterans. And that's the biggest problem, is the apathy. The Congress is apathetic, the administration is apathetic, and the American people are apathetic. They're not at the Veterans Administrations. They're not seeing what we see as veterans.
It is not right to have someone volunteer to wear a uniform and not get the best possible care. I apologize for what they went through, and we're going to fix the problem.
They're going over there and fighting for no reason. They're coming back, and our government won't take care of them. and they're going over there and coming back with PTSD, or they're paralyzed, they completely disformed or disfigured, and all of this sacrifice, I mean, readily given. They all sacrifice without a second thought, and they come back and they're not taken care of, like the government said they would.
Because the war doesn't end for us when we come home. It keeps going over and over and over again in our heads.